Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Dillian Whyte and Andy Ruiz. You know, these guys have been back and forth on social media. They've both called themselves pretty much cowards. And the question is, who do you believe? Which one is a coward? Okay. Well, let's lay what we know on the table and we can see what is what. First of all, you have Dillian Whyte with his offer. He asked Eddie Hearn to put together an offer for Andy Ruiz. And that deal obviously wasn't enough for Andy Ruiz. Reasonably so, because Andy, you know, has come into a certain tax bracket. So he sent him another offer. Now, from that offer, we didn't hear anything but a response through social media saying that he doesn't have time to play with Eddie Hearn or he said in his promoter. Okay. He didn't want it after all he said. So we're moving on. We have big plans coming soon, or a big announcement coming soon. Okay. That's Andy Ruiz. Now, Dillian Whyte shot back like, hey, who are you talking to? You're a fat blob, all fat, no heart. I'm more Mexican than you. You're really the coward. You didn't want to take the fight. If you want it, you can get it. Okay. That's what he's presently saying. Andy Ruiz has something brewing in the midst regarding what that is. Now, he could be saving grace depending on who that fighter is, because if that fighter is a very massive fight, that means, hey, you know, you picked a rock instead of a hard place. So that's understandable. But until then, we also know that Andy Ruiz is he doesn't have a trainer right now. He has to sit down with Teddy Atlas to see even if Teddy will train him. Right. And then even if Teddy decides to train Andy Ruiz, it's always that grace period where you have a fighter and a trainer. They have to have a certain caliber of fight to see where Andy's at, to see if he learned anything or retained anything he's learned from the new trainer. Because it's hard to teach old dogs new tricks. Again, this guy's been in the game a while. He might be 30 years old, but he's been fighting since he was 5. He knows the fighting game. So it's a lot of things that he's accustomed to doing. It's hard to unlearn. It's hard to break patterns that you're currently used to. I understand that. But here's the thing. It's all about integrity at the end of the day. We know what's going on. And that's just me speculating why Andy did not want to take that fight. You know, because it's like this. If he's not scared, just say, I'm not scared of you, but I want a tune-up fight first. I just lost. But since he has a big announcement coming soon, that messes up that total that total scenario. Why? Because the total scenario is that he's between trainers. That has nothing to do with his big announcement. It would seem to me like if he's taking it easy, hey, I'm not ready for a fight like that, that's fine. But his excuse was, again with another excuse, oh, well, I got a big announcement coming soon, right? It's not enough money for me. Now, you could claim that, hey, maybe he got too much money. Maybe he did. You know, like I stated, I don't think Andy Ruiz is worried about money right now. I think what he's doing is he's waiting to buy his time. He thought that he was going to get Anthony Joshua money with Dillian Whyte money. Okay. And I think he needs to slow his roll, honestly, and be thankful for what he is and where he's at, because a lot of fighters, you know, like Josecito Lopez, when he upset Victor Ortiz back in the day, how many fights did he get versus if he wouldn't have beat and broke Ortiz's jaw? If he would have broke Ortiz's jaw, he would have never got the Canelo fight, right? He would have never got the Maidana fight, right? He wouldn't have got any of those fights that he was in. But he did trickle on down and he made good money. I hope he did what he's supposed to do with that particular money. But he did make good money by fighting that prime opposition. I think Andy Ruiz is in the same place. So depending on what this so-called big announcement is, if it's some BS, we already know, dude, you ducked that fight for no good reason. And then everybody can speculate. You were scared. You didn't want to step up. You're complacent with the money you made from AJ. Therefore, you become like those guys that fight Mayweather. And Mayweather's, after that, they don't really do anything. They just kind of chill and sit around, and like Maidana did, like Roberto the Ghost Guerrero, Robert the Ghost Guerrero did. A lot of those guys, they got that fight person. They didn't do anything since. Is Andy Ruiz like that? It remains to be seen, but you got to come up with somebody a lot better or bigger than Dillian Whyte. That's my thing, right? So we go back to that list that we talked about. It better be somebody high on that list that he's talking about fighting. Because if it's not, if it's a PBC guy, that means, okay, well, hey, he went back to his promoter and did his thing. But don't say that you guys didn't want to step up, all that you talked and you didn't want to fight when people are sending you offers. I'm tired of those excuses. Because I heard that excuse 2 years ago with Mr. Wilder. Mr. Wilder claimed that somebody was scared and ducking. That's a coward. You would accept 15 million, but you wouldn't accept 12.5, which was slave wages. But $15 million, what is that, minimum wage? What is that? See what I'm saying? All that doesn't make sense. Right? And between that was a $50 million offer and all that. We won't go into all that, but it sounds familiar. So a lot of times I think these guys have a go-to a statement made that, that accuses the other guy that the other guy didn't want to fight when they're the ones, in fact, sending the offers. See, what you do in boxing, and this is what I do in boxing. I look at a certain article and I see two guys arguing. I see what the guy does in action versus the guy that talks. Because it's always a situation. You can talk and have a numerous amount of interviews and say what you're going to do, how you wanted to do it, what you're planning to do, or whatever. If you don't get it done, you'll become one of those guys that talk. You're all talk and no show. You're all talk and no walk. You're that kind of dude that's selling wolf tickets, right? But there's no show. There's no show at all. That's why it's a wolf ticket. So, I'm looking at this with Andy Ruiz. If Andy Ruiz, I think if he was serious about Dillian Whyte, I think he would have at least asked for a counteroffer. You know what I mean? Accept the offer, or say what would be the case. Don't sit back and wait for somebody. Oh, just wait back to send them offers. Wait, just wait. No, if you want to get a fight done, get it done. And another thing, if someone's sending you offers and you don't like that offer, so they send you another offer, obviously that had to be some kind of communication back and forth, right? This is what I'm tired of. I'm tired of people not having a business mind. Boxing is a business, right? So if you are a guy or you are a team, you're like Team Joshua, Team White, Team Wilder, and you're sending offers to another team. And that other team sends back like, no, it's not enough money. Okay. All right. The last thing they want to do is go to social media at that point. Okay. Because at that point, you're breaking the negotiation circle or cycle or progress, right? The way things progress. Okay. When a person tells you, hey, no, that's not enough money, send me another offer. What are they doing at that point? They're not arguing. They're negotiating. So what people need to understand, Dillian Whyte and Andy Ruiz was negotiating. The moment anyone snapped and broke that cycle and went to social media and said, man, I ain't got time to mess around and this, that, and the other, and he didn't want to fight, and I got a big announcement coming soon. Okay, that's all talk until they produce something, until they show us something. That's totally irrelevant at that time. Okay, it doesn't mean anything. None of that means anything. Okay, because all we've seen is Dillian Whyte and his team send two offers to Andy Ruiz. That's all we've seen. That's all that's happened. And the rest is talk. UK over here, US over here. They've been talking across the pond, communicating through social media. That's the only thing that's taking place. If Andy Ruiz would have told us like, hey, this is what it would happen. No, you went to social media. Ortiz did the same thing in the Anthony Joshua fight. Team Ortiz, should I say, not him necessarily, personally. But These guys, instead of negotiating, saying, well, no, we want more money or whatever, you know, these guys, what they went and did, they ran to social media and told everybody publicly what they were doing that's supposed to have been on the negotiation table. And they're supposed to be negotiating. When you're negotiating, you keep that private, discreet, respect the confidentiality of the whole idea. That's how you do it. And Andy didn't do that. He falls into that trend, like Wilder, like Ortiz. Now it's Andy Ruiz. Now he's, oh man, they didn't want to fight after all. If they didn't want to fight, they would have offered you millions of dollars if they didn't want to fight. That makes no sense. And all we do, you're giving us something to pacify us with, oh, but I got a big announcement coming soon, because he had nothing else to come back with. I think if the real reason would have been trainers, he would have said that. That would have been, dude, I don't have a trainer. I'm in a weird time now, you know, and I'm trying to get everything ready. That's different. That would be totally okay, but he didn't come with that. He came with blasting Dillian Whyte like this guy didn't want to fight. You know, so that tells me it's an automatic excuse. We can make all the excuses we want for Andy Ruiz, but if he didn't make it for himself, it does not matter. So I think Andy Ruiz, I think he needs to produce something. If he's about that life, he needs to produce this big announcement coming soon. He needs to do it, and he needs to do it to Counterpunch, to show everybody that he didn't duck Dillian Whyte, because that's what it's looking like right now. But anyway, that's my take and my Counterpunch on Andy Ruiz versus versus Dillian Whyte. You guys tell me, well, who do you think is the coward? Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.